Broadcasting to you from the heart of northern Minnesota, you are listening to the Roger Radio Show. I am Roger Radio.
And I'm Aegis on Levity of the Anti-Capitalism group.
You ready to do this?
Hell yeah, brother.
Give me a quick moment. Let me quickly get this poured in here. Oh yeah, now we're cooking, folks. All right, man, here's to another album review we're gonna do. Cheers.
Cheers, brother.
Now, before we get started with today's podcast, ladies and gentlemen, our podcast question for this episode will be, what was your first ever song that you heard after you were born?
And I don't even remember.
I remember pretty fondly. Run Around by Blues Traveler. I remember it clear as...
For me, it was probably something by Tom Chapin. I listened to a lot of him when I was a little kid.
Don't you still listen to him today?
Tom Chapin? No.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He makes like children's music, so
I
don't really listen to it today.
Yeah. Dude, Blues Traveler, dude, that overall 90s sound, dude, especially when it was like, that song Run Around was probably from, I think, was their best work. 4 is what it's called. And it looks like a really nice album cover. I did not include it as like one of my all-time favorite album covers because I just didn't really have that feel to it, you know? But
yeah.
it almost reminds me of, I can't remember, like, you don't remember, like, back in the old days, they had, like, this one character who was, like, a panther or a cat or whatever, who was, like, a mascot for cigarettes?
I know what you're talking about, yeah. It wasn't the Pink Panther, was it?
Oh, no. This was a Black Panther. All right.
I didn't think so.
Yeah. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, today's podcast, we are going to be simply reviewing one of the all-time greatest albums that has ever been made. And I am, of course, talking about Radiohead's 1997 Magnum Opus, OK Computer.
Yep.
What do you got to say about it?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, it's the only album I've listened to by Radiohead so far, but I did really like it. It's got some cool math rock sections in it, which I do really like.
Yep. And could you explain for us what math rock is?
Math rock is basically it's a genre of music, of rock music, where basically they'll use a lot of different fucking time signatures like one after the other. So
yeah,
it just switches time signatures a lot into some very abnormal time signatures like 7 and shit.
Oh yeah.
That's my understanding of what math rock is anyway.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, I know basically for me, dude, I mean, what is there to say about this album that has not been said, man? I mean, if you folks, if you haven't listened to it, I would encourage you to listen to it. The link to the album will be in the description below. I am also going to include their 20th anniversary album that also includes like B tracks and never before released songs as well. It's basically simply titled OK Not OK.
Okay.
Which I think is a pretty good title for it anyways. So basically, folks, so a lot of people always have to make comparisons with this album to Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, which was the last album we reviewed. But to be honest with you, man, I really do not see that, dude. The sinister sound that's on OK Computer, in my opinion, I would compare it more to Pink Floyd's album The Wall.
I can see that, yeah. It's a better comparison, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why they want to compare it to Dark Side of the Moon. Dark Side of the Moon pretty much talked about the realities of life. OK Computer was talking about the realities that were coming in to the next century. Because this album, remember, came out 3 years before the 21st century kicked off. And you can see by listening to the lyrics, it really does feel like it's getting you prepared for it because technology was starting to come in. The internet was becoming much more massive than
Hmm.
we thought. The themes that you hear in the songs themselves, I mean, it pretty much does resemble like that what's gonna come. And look at us, it's 2025, ladies and gentlemen, and obviously,
And we are all like very reliant on technology for like every hour of the day.
exactly. I mean,
Like
dude,
you're on your phones, you're playing video games, you
yeah,
got
I don't know
work
what
shit.
I would do if I didn't have this.
Yep. And yeah, OK Computer kind of predicted that we would be so reliant on technology.
Yes, and that brings us to another thing that I want to quickly bring up. So I'm going to include this also in the description below. But on October 8th of 2020, a journalist by the name of Brock Duhamel, who was with the Arizona State Press, ended up releasing an article that says, simply titled, "OK Computer, the album that predicted the future." If you're wondering, your webcam's way more better than the last recording.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know what's up with my webcam lately. It's just all blurry.
Yeah, I'm sure
Usually
we'll.
it's fine.
Yeah, I'm sure we can fix that when it comes time.
Yeah.
But I will. But ladies and gentlemen, I will be reading off of this article as well as we go on. But I just want to quickly read a synopsis of like how this album came to be. So in '95, Radiohead obviously toured to support their sophomore effort, The Bends, which is probably an iconic album cover. Honestly, it's like a mannequin just still looking like he's having an orgasm.
Oh, yeah, I know exactly which one you're talking about.
Yep. And then Radiohead would end up recording the song Lucky, or it was like either the song Lucky or exit film for a music for a movie called Romeo plus Juliet. Radiohead didn't feel that it was good enough for the soundtrack, so they asked that it not be included on the soundtrack, but they would allow it to be played on the movie. And
Do you remember what movie it was?
it was Romeo plus Juliet.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, my bad.
Yep. And
I thought you were
it
saying
was
that was the name of the song.
no. So but before they did that, Brian Eno, who's one of your favorite composers,
Hmm.
if I remember, he asked,
Not really a composer, but he's a really good studio magician and musician in particular.
yeah. So
Yeah, he's worked with fucking Talking Heads, David Bowie,
yeah,
all sorts of people.
yeah, I understand that he was on Talking Heads as Magnum Opus.
Remain in Light.
Yes.
Yes, he was a part of that.
Yep. But
That's
Brian,
another album we should talk about some days, Remain in Light.
I would like to do that. I'm not much into like full on Talking Heads fan like your sister is, dude. But I do
Yeah.
love their music. Like, I have like one song from every album on my playlist, my personal playlist.
Yeah, usually when I listen to the Talking Heads, I literally just listen to Remain in Light. I love that album so much.
Yeah, it's a nice album cover too. So,
Yeah.
but long story short, ladies and gentlemen, Brian Eno did ask them or commissioned them to contribute a song to a charity compilation that was organized by War Child, and it's simply titled "The Help Album," which was provide and all the proceeds from that album went to war-stricken areas in Bosnia and Herzegovina, is how I say it.
How's it spelled?
Um, Herzegovina.
Here's a Govina, I think. I don't know. I'm not familiar with that country.
Yeah, but this was going along. This was going on during the Bosnian Wars. Is what they were
Okay.
raising funds for, so they could help rebuild the Bosnia and just all the war-stricken areas. But right afterwards, but it was during that time, folks, like Tom York in particular was suffering from some depression and anxiety, and he was so burnt out, man. Like the whole band was so incredibly burnt out because of the Bends and because of their touring. They decided to take a much long needed break, and it really helped him out. Then they ended up releasing or created the song exit music for a film for the Romeo plus Juliet film. And then the rest is history. They end up going to like a haunted mansion to actually record the whole album there. I'm just trying to find where the album was. Oh, it's called St. Catherine's Court, a rural mansion near Bath, Somerset. And yes, that's the actual name, Bath. But it was owned by actress Jane Seymour. I don't even know how much they even paid to rent out that mansion so they could record, because they did not want to be in a studio. They wanted to do it somewhere else, so like have a different scene.
Yeah.
And obviously, we know how it all went down, man. Like, it was mixed reviews at first, but it started building up a cult following, man.
So all the best music is. It doesn't hit right away, but it's got a good cult following.
Yeah, I know Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, man. It was an immediate success when it came out. The Wall did have some mixed reviews, not from their fans, but most specifically the critics, the music critics, and the studio companies and all that. But then they saw this and they were like, holy shit. I'm just trying to find where all the awards are at right now, so you'll have to bear with me, folks. But basically, this album I think, was nominated for like a bunch of Grammys, and then it ended up winning. I think it was Album of the Year, if I remember correctly. Man, where the fuck is it at, man? I can't even find this shit, bro. Oh, you know what? I think I might know how to find it. Give me a moment. Remember, folks, if you need information, Wikipedia is such a great tool to use.
People give Wikipedia shit, but it's actually usually is pretty reliable.
Yeah, that's how I'm able to do a lot of my information.
Yeah, OK Computer won the Grammy Award for Best Alternative Music Album in 1998.
Yep, and their nominated work was Airbag, their song Airbag, which we will get into soon. And yeah,
Mhm.
it was nominated for Album of the Year. And I can't remember who they lost to. I'm gonna take a look quick. Like, I know they were nominated, but yeah. Let's see here. They lost to Bob Dylan.
Which album of his?
Time Out of Mind.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that was a good album. I think that was like the people always keep saying, "Oh, this one album is Bob Dylan's best work," and this and that, blah blah blah. But for me, it would be Blood on the Tracks, and I did do a special on that a while back. So, yeah. But yeah, that's pretty cool. It's really awesome, man. It's a good album. So I'm gonna quickly read off on this article right here. Excuse me. Okay, so OK Computer, the 1997 album by the English rock band Radiohead, is collectively understood as a commentary on the overpowering sense of alienation that results from living in an increasingly self-indulgent and technologically dependent society. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Listening to the record in the pandemic ravaged world of today might conjure up the image of donning a mask and walking alone down Palm Walk, an apocalyptic scene juxtaposed with the fierce midday rays of the Arizona sun. This article was in Arizona, by the way, folks, so I will include it in the description below. Let's see here. It might also bring to mind the scene of sitting in your bedroom, accompanied only by your laptop, as you prepare to log on to an endless string of Zoom classes.
Hmm.
Well, folks, we are recording on
Speaking of
Zoom,
Zoom,
so yeah, we are recording on a Zoom call right now, folks. So, wow,
Mhm.
that I believe I think Zoom really blew up, just like the fucking video game Among Us, or Amogus, as I call it.
Hmm.
Okay, so OK Computer is profoundly applicable to life in 2020. It's difficult to fathom that its haunting vocals and spastic guitar riffs were written in a time before iPhones and Zoom. The album of the or the name of the album itself seems to predict the idea of having robot servants, Alexa, Cortana, Google, and Siri, at our beck and call. In fact, Amazon Echo's devices have the option to make Alexa respond to the words "Okay, computer." Now, remember, folks, so when they were making this album, how they got their name for this album was they were on tour and they were listening to a radio rendition of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, if I remember correctly. And they
Yep,
kept
it was
saying,
that.
like, okay, computer, I want full manual control. And as they were doing their recording of their songs, it just stuck with their heads. And I think it was, I think Colin Greenwood or Ed O'Brien who wrote that exact quote down because it was one of them watching it. But
Right.
it is a pretty interesting quote nonetheless. And it's very, very relatable. Okay, so Sean Hillen, who holds a doctorate in musicology from ASU's Herberger Institute for Design and the Arts, says that in OK Computer, he hears a sense of alienation and a desire to escape from the world that we've created, which is especially relevant during the current COVID-19 pandemic. Remember, it's the pandemic's over. It's 2025. This article is 2020, so just bear with us, folks. Hillen, who in 2018 designed and taught a course at ASU about Radiohead in the context of modern social issues, added that, by and large, our general mood is down. It's not just economic depression, but it's psychological, and that's all over this album in terms of the lyrics. Here's a look at each of the record's 12 tracks in the context of our world today. Okay, so that being said, now that we have gave you a synopsis of it, we are gonna break down each song. We will take a break right after the when we get to the halfway point. So, funny
And
thing
when
for
we
the
get there, I'm gonna try restarting my camera and see if that helps.
yeah, I'm sure it should help. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so the first track that we have is simply titled Airbag. Do you have anything you want to say about it before I get into my stuff?
Isn't it about when Tom uh got into a car accident and the only reason he didn't die was because of his airbag?
I believe so. Yes, that's what I wrote down. Is you can even hear it in like the lyrics, and it's like you feel more alive after you were in an accident, as he said in the quote in one of the lyrics. I am born again.
I was literally just going to say that exact lyric.
Yeah. So obviously, hey folks, like I said, it made a reference to being in a car accident and being saved and feel alive knowing that technology saved your life. Remember,
Yeah.
back in the when they were creating the automobiles, they did not include like airbags and seatbelts. So they were, and of course, they were much more harder badasses than we are today. You know. So one thing that I really stuck out to me with this song is around the end of the song, you hear a jingle.
Yeah, you can kind of hear that throughout most of the song, can't you?
Yep. And I honestly keep thinking, is it Christmas season already? Uh, I know for the song here, they actually were the drumming, like Philip Selway's drumming here was actually influenced by the song DJ Shadows' Building Steam with a Grain of Salt. There was some more information that I did find when I was watching this. A big shout out to Middle Aid, a really great channel, and he did some in-depth work on this album. I will include his video in the description below. I will also be including another video from one of my favorite channels, Vinyl Rewind, as well. Big shout out to them. I will include his album review as well as the one he did for OK Not OK, which is the 20th anniversary. Remember, folks, we are not officially sponsored by Voodoo, but someday we will be.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so.
Can't get enough voodoos, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, here's the thing. Like,
Ah,
I like IPAs, man. Like, it has that different taste from the usual traveling jack that I drink, man. But hey,
yep.
an IPA is an IPA. Okay,
I used to have
so
this I used to have this t-shirt I'd wear. It said IPA, lot when I drink.
that's awesome, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, then I drank too many IPAs and it doesn't fit me anymore.
Well, I'm sure you can find a larger size. I mean,
Yeah,
you're not all that fat, are you?
I think I am, but a lot of people tell me, you're not fat. I'm like,
Hey,
I
I'm
feel
pretty.
fat.
Well, dude, here's the thing. I always say it, and I use it as like a motivational thing to keep myself in shape as much as possible. So remember, reverse psychology. I know psychology. I just never took the classes because of my disability. So,
Yep, I hear you there.
all right. So to continue on with the song Airbag, here's what it says in the article: setting the mood for the rest of the album. Airbag interpolates interpolates
Interpolates.
Thank you for that. It it includes the menacing sounds that you hear from Johnny Greenwood's guitar, digital record scratch noises, and Tom York's simultaneously optimistic and pained lyrics. Here we go. Here's one of the quotes right here. In a deep, deep sleep of the innocent, I am born again, York wails, desperately trying to convince himself that he's been reborn as an innocent child after a traumatic car crash. He wants to be blissfully ignorant of the horrors of the world he's helped create. Dude, doesn't that not sound legit?
Hell yeah.
I mean, wow, I never even thought about that, honestly. I mean, even then, it's 2025, and you can obviously tell, like, it is man itself that causes destruction. We see it all over the world. Yeah, we industrialize, we go to wars, you name it.
Hmm.
Okay,
All right,
so
so
the
next is Paranoid Android.
yep, and what do you got to say? You got a few things you want to say?
It's my favorite song on the album. That's for sure.
They were
Uh,
they were influenced by another great song by Queen, right?
yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody, right?
Yep. What else do you want to say about it?
Uh, let's see. On Genius, it says it's the first single from OK Computer. It's characterized by three distinct moods written in what, excuse me, what Tom York referred to as three different states of mind. The song's lyrics tie in with a number of themes common in OK Computer, including insanity, violence, slogans, and political objection to capitalism.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever watched the music video for Paranoid Android?
I did.
What do you think of it?
I thought it was cool, but my favorite music video from this album is, can't remember what it's called, but it's like with the water and shit, you know?
Oh yeah, no surprises. We'll get into that soon,
Yeah,
but
yeah, we'll talk about that later.
yep. All right. I'm a nail bar. You have to give me a moment, folks. Okay,
Hmm.
so obviously, out of all the songs, it's so hard to choose what their biggest hit was, but I think it was Paranoid Android. It is even ranked among their top five best works they did because it was so structurally good. They ended up taking like in addition to being heavily inspired by Bohemian Rhapsody, which I think is one of the all-time greatest songs. Your webcam looks good.
Yeah, I might have to restart it. I don't know what the fuck happened.
Well, I'm sure we'll get to that when we get to it. But
Yeah, yeah.
in addition to Bohemian Rhapsody, they also did get some inspiration from the Beatles' song "Happiness Is a Warm Gun." This song is like so very well structured. Like they did a lot of good structure with this. The animations were good. It pretty much talks about it also, like what you said, it talks about dull people losing their individuality. And their structure is like a little bit that you hear from progressive rock.
Yeah,
At least
so
some of it.
the verse one goes, please could you stop the noise? I'm trying to get some rest from all the unborn chicken voices in my head. That kind of reminds me of a line from a song I wrote called Noise once. It's about voices in your head, schizophrenia and shit.
Oh, I got
And
you.
I don't know.
I got you, man. Okay, so to continue with the article here, Paranoid Android, a three-part epic akin to Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody. Paranoid Android starts as an internal monologue for the song's subject, a robot, as it contemplates the paranoia, anxiety, and materialism associated with modern urban life, like you said. And this is the first song where you hear the text to speech that they used because
Mhm.
in addition to like the internet starting, text to speech was starting to become a new tool that people can use, especially if you're gonna say like, for example, you got mail.
Yeah.
um and obviously if you need something translated too, and they started incorporating like the exact tool, which is like supposed to be the AI or robot. Alrighty. Then the rest of the band comes in as the lyrics and timbre become.
Timbre.
Thanks for the correction. They become violent with rage due to the paranoia. The third movement slows things down and becomes reminiscent of a church choir as the android asks for God to let it rain down and destroy everything. There's this idea of the noise of the world and all of the pain being caused by greed and ambition, Hillen says for the track. There's an idea for a cleansing thing to just burn it all away. It's a morbid and cynical thing to think. And a really sicko person might think that that's what viruses are for, a reset button for the world. Man, I don't know what to say about that. There are no words.
Yeah.
I never
Yeah, it
thought
goes back
about
to
that.
fucking COVID. As I said, it was like a reset button for the fucking world.
Yeah, it's almost like a it's like not an ethnic cleansing, but just a cleansing of like the
A
population.
culling of the fold.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so next up we got Subterranean Homesick Alien. That kind of gives me an idea for another sing or a tune you should make for me. Maybe call it Rural Homesick DJ.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, what do you got to say for the song?
Uh, Genius says, in Subterranean Homesick Alien, Tom speaks of being isolated or different from the rest of his brethren. He wishes an alien colony can take him away just so he can be a silent observer instead of an active participant in this unfair game we call life.
That's exactly what the article I'm reading also says. Okay,
Yeah,
so
like I fucking hate it here. Just take me away, you know?
yeah, please, for the love of God, take me away from this fucking world.
Hmm.
I know that it's I have the like two different interpretations when it comes to it. Like you said, like it's about just the isolation part, and it's also from the just wanting to be abducted and taken away, and maybe go explore the beautifulness that is the universe or whatever.
Yeah.
And mind you, I am a huge NASA guy. I've always advocated for space, and I do for some reason believe that aliens do exist, even though they always say nah, bullshit and all that.
I believe there are aliens out there, but I don't think we have ever been contacted by aliens. Because
We had
it's just
Roswell.
like I really don't believe in that, you know. But no, I don't believe we ever had contact with aliens, but I do believe like with how vast the universe is, it is so unlikely that we are the only planet with life on it, you know?
Yeah, and I do believe that because of some of the recordings that they ended up getting, which are like some of the most mysterious recordings ever. You have the wow signal. You have
I
the
was literally
singing
just gonna say
comet.
the wow signal.
Yep, that is a very good prime example right there. There's also like sounds that were emanating from the surface of probably one of my favorite planets, Saturn.
Yeah. Uh
Because they ended up sending like I think like like NASA will send out like a signal things or like What are those things called again? They ended up sending one of them, and they started like getting like a signal from like Saturn that's very eerie in nature, and
Yeah, and
it's
if there
amazing.
is any other life forms in our galaxy, it would be on Europa. Are you familiar with Europa?
No, I'm not.
Is one of Jupiter's moons, and
Oh,
there's a
okay.
lot of like ice and water and shit. So it's like maybe there's life over there, you know?
Yeah, I think the one moon I'm mostly familiar with is not just our moon, but I would say Saturn has a moon called Titan, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, that's the other. If that's what it's actually named, then that's the other moon I'm familiar with because of fucking Futurama.
Mm.
Okay, so for what I've written down for Subterranean Homesick Alien, like I say, it's about two different things. Just please take me away from this fucking shit show that is going on our planet. Whisk me away. Take me away. Does have a very spacey vibe to it. Don't you agree?
Yeah. Yeah.
It some reason, dude, like it does match a little bit because you have the title Subterranean Homesick Alien. And obviously, with it being a spacey vibe, it does relate. Or it
Yeah, the
does
title,
feel good.
yeah, the title Subterranean Homesick Alien makes him think he's comparing himself to an alien that and he's just homesick. He needs to be back in space with his brethren.
Yep. Almost sounds like E.T., man.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good comparison.
Yep. So it talks about, just having that isolation also, like being isolated from everyone, especially during the
Yeah.
COVID pandemic, like everyone has to be isolated. You got to stay in your homes and all that. I know there were so many people that it really took a huge mental toll on them, but I don't know what it was about me, dude. I managed to make it out okay out of all those isolations because I've did spend a whole lot of my time in my bedroom, like prior to the pandemic and when I was still living with my folks.
Yeah.
You know,
Anything else to say on that song?
um, the terrifying sound was inspired by Miles Davis's album "Bitches Brew." They obviously "Bitches Brew" by Miles Davis. It's probably one of his greatest works, and it was also one of the huge influences of this album. Okay, so for the article here, according to Hillen's interpretation, Subterranean Homesick Alien is about York's longing to have the aliens abduct him and whisk him away from life as he knows it. If you listen to the sounds that they employ, there's these mystical electronic sounds that I think clearly conjure up an image of outer space for most people, Hillen said. Surely, with everything going on in the world today, many of us have just wanted to escape the fear and anxiety. And
Right?
the mystical electronic sounds he's talking about. There's like you'll hear a lot of like the electronic technology like sounds as the album progresses, which really fits in. But it's also, aside from the text to speech you hear on the second song, Paranoid Android, it is starting to build up
Hmm.
to it. Okay, so the next song that we have is track number 4, and this was the song that laid the groundwork for OK Computer to be made, and it's simply titled "Exit Music for a Film." I don't know what it is. I like that title.
Yeah. I know. I think Paranoid Android is a cooler title, but
Yeah,
this one, the title is literally what it is like exit music for a film. That's what it was for.
yep. You have anything to say about it? It's when I if I had to rank any of these songs, Exit Music would be like somewhere down on the bottom. I just wasn't really clicked
Yeah.
on with it, you know. But okay, so obviously it's about defying control. That darker guitar sound was influenced by Johnny Cash's song "Dark as a Dungeon," which he performed when he was doing his live performance at Folsom Prison. And I'm talking the acoustic guitar, you know. And obviously, originally written to be included during the end credits of Baz Luhrmann's 1996 movie Romeo plus Juliet, exit music for a film follows Subterranean Homesick Alien, with more on the theme of escaping from fear and anxiety. However, this track climaxes in anger with a powerful vocals accompanied by the lyrics. We hope your rules and wisdom choke you, referring to Romeo and Juliet's anger toward family members who tried to prevent their escape from Verona. You know, and obviously the overall sound, it just sounds, it just pretty much, like you said, it matches, you know, like you're leaving watching a movie at the
Yeah.
theaters, and you know, they'll play like tunes in between like screenings and all that. So, all right, do you have anything else that you want to say about this song?
Honestly, it might just be the weakest song on this album.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's
It was
sometimes,
still
sometimes,
alright, but it wasn't the best, you know.
yeah. No, that's how I feel. Okay, so next up we got track 5, Letdown, which I think is probably one of their top songs from this album. I just like the overall sound of it. Oh, I'm getting hiccups, excuse me. So, do you have anything you would like to say about Letdown?
Let's see. A Letdown was recorded at 3 a.m. in a ballroom at the historic St. Catherine's Court. The song's structure features multi-layered arpeggiated guitars and electric piano with unconventional time signatures and a Spectre-esque wall of sound. And you know me, I love my unconventional time signatures.
Oh yeah, I know that you always structure everything well with your music craft. I know
Yeah,
you always try perfect everything. That's what one of my other friends from that band Perfect Lies. It'll be part of the huge project that we will have, or a huge show that we will be doing soon. Dude, I don't know when. You'll have to be patient, but
yeah.
he's been working on a really good song for a while now, and he's been tooling to make sure it's all perfected for at least the different cues and everything. Okay, so well, for what I could say for this song right here, dude, what I wrote down is that, you know, at the ending, dude, you hear what sounds like a ZX Spectrum computer, meaning the acoustic guitar, and it's like a tug of war. Like the guitar is supposed to represent man, and that Spectrum computer is supposed to represent technology, and it's like a tug of war to be like, who's gonna take over, kind of thing. Will it be the technology aspect, or will it be man who will win this fight? You're just looking stunned, like, what the fuck did you just say? Oh man. All right, get it together, man.
Sorry.
Yeah, you're good, man. Anyways, cheers.
Mine's empty.
Well, what are you waiting for?
All
I'm
right,
just
I'll go
kidding.
get another one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, you just go ahead and get one. But while he's doing that, folks, so we will. I'm just gonna quickly say a few things here. So basically, you know, this whole album overall, dude, it came out at the right place at the right time, and I am of course talking about at the eve of the 21st century. And if you, I was about maybe 3 years old when OK Computer came out. And obviously, I did not know who Radiohead was. The only reason I know who Radiohead is because they made an appearance in South Park.
All right, so I got a story to tell you. It's completely unrelated to the video, but
Yeah,
we were
go
at
ahead.
Boulder Tap House yesterday, and we got a sample of the Inferno sauce, and we had a little video. We both tried it. So I just left it in a container in the fridge overnight, and I wake up earlier today, and my grand G Money, he's going like, "What the fuck is this shit in the fridge?" He was down
Did
in
he
milk and
actually
shit.
sample it?
Yeah. I knew if I just left it in the fridge, I was like, he's gonna try it. He's gotta try it. And then he just wakes me up. He's like, what the fuck is this shit in the fridge?
Dude, that is so awesome. Oh, dude, that is
Yeah.
fucking
Sorry, it was
awesome. No,
completely
it's fine,
unrelated,
man.
but
I needed that. No, I need it. It's also it's always nice to have these little breaks in between, but
yeah.
oh fuck, man. That is so awesome, man. I wish I would have recorded that. I say we discuss that in our next video that we'll be working on soon. So, all
Yeah.
right. So, basically, for the article here, the article says for this song, one of the more conventionally structured tracks on the album, Let Down, talks about using music to satisfy our emotional needs. Throughout the pandemic, music and art have always been pathways of escape from reality for many people. I will say this, dude. It is true. That is an absolute
Oh
fucking
yeah.
true statement right there.
And for me, it isn't listening to music that helps, it's singing. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yep, I know, and I know how you are with your stuff. Okay,
Yep.
so for the last song before we go to do break, this is probably their biggest hit from here, Karma Police.
Karma Police.
Yep. And
All right.
obviously, this is a really good structured song. It does have that 90s feel to it.
Yeah, Karma Police is a haunting and atmospheric track. Tom York's strained, lackadaisical vocals are at once warm and sinister, echoing the delusions of an addict on the midst of a narcotic meltdown. Musically, the Blip Band follows a creamy, dreamlike chord progression that makes use of old Beatles melody laid out on the piano to create a velvety bed of uneasy comfort.
Yeah.
Despite this, Tom York and Johnny Greenwood have claimed the song was meant to be comedic, providing levity, hey, providing
Oh, yeah.
levity to an otherwise tense and despondent album through lyrics that were not entirely serious.
Okay, I totally get what you're talking about right there, honestly. Like
Yeah, it
it's
just
a,
adds some comedic relief to like a very serious album.
I don't know, man. It still sounds pretty serious because when it comes to the name of the title, or probably the most well-known song from OK Computer, the lyrics of Karma Police speak of York's desire for karmic judgment to be inflicted on those who have wronged him before York realizes that he too is subject to the karma of the universe. Amid a pandemic and a strange political reality, it's easy to become quick to anger and to rush to judgment of others. However, it's important to remember not to lose yourself in these emotions. For me, honestly, dude, it's pretty much like about like it almost feels like like a judgment will come to like law enforcement, because they've gotten
Yeah.
away for far too long with the fucking police brutality shit. All right, I was just trying to find this right here, but basically, essentially, like the album cover itself. If you look at the album cover of OK Computer, folks, there is like it looks like an interstellar highway system, or like the flowing of information and all that you get on fucking um like from everything, like technology wise. But
Mhm.
that is an interstate that's somewhere in Connecticut. I can't remember where it is. I'm just quickly looking it up quick before we go to break so that way I can get it down. Where the hell are you? Okay, there it is. Hang on a minute. Yep, it is the interstate highway that's on the album cover is actually located in Hartford, Connecticut. the
Okay.
birthplace of the WWE. And I'm a huge wrestling guy, so what do you
Hmm.
expect? I mean, to give you an idea, dude, I got a fucking tattoo of one of my favorite wrestlers. That gives you
Mike
an idea of.
Tyson?
No, that's Goldberg. Yeah,
Oh shit.
Tyson did boxing, but
Yeah.
although
I
he
don't know a
has
lot
appeared.
about martial arts or wrestling or anything like that. I'm not going to act like I do. I don't know shit about
Right.
it.
Yeah. All right, folks. So no, we are now at the halfway point of this album. We are going to take a quick short break and we will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the show that's dedicated to reminding you that we are living in a shitty ass society today. You are listening to the Roger Radio Show. So, we have obviously covered the first 6 tracks, and already we are doing so good. There was one thing that I forgot to mention about Karma Police, dude, and that is like, okay, so it was Johnny Greenwood. If you know the ending of Karma Police, right?
Yeah.
Basically, what happened is that he ended up supercharging like his wall pedal or amp or whatever, and
Mhm.
he ends up releasing all that energy, and it almost sounds like a computer crashing or whatever. Like the
Mhm. I know what you're talking
that
about.
that is probably like that was not that was not on a computer or anything like that. That was his fucking guitar, dude, and that was probably the sickest thing ever, dude. And obviously, that ends up bleeding into the next song that we have, which is Fitter Happier. And because that ending part for Karma Police, dude, it almost sounds like technology has fully taken over. That's it. And you could hear it on the track Fitter Happier, which I would probably rank at the number from best to worst or whatever. Fitter Happier would be at the bottom because it's not really much of a song, but it's more like an interlude, an
Yeah.
intermission of sorts. They use that voice that you were hearing on Paranoid Android, that text to speech, and he was just making quotes like
Yeah.
fitter,
So,
happier, more productive.
yeah, Fitter Happier, reading off Genius again. Fitter
Yep.
Happier is a list of bullet points that diagnose society for what it was and where it was headed at the time of the song's release and arguably the world we live in now. It specifically lists in a matter-of-fact way to reflect the entire ethos of modern society being unemotional and cold. With the melancholic backgrounds, melodies, the song becomes one of the most frightening songs on the album, but it is only describing modern life. Clearly something is wrong with our society then.
Yeah.
And then just one more line.
Yeah.
The track is arguably the most accurate in describing what OK Computer is all about.
And it does match up. It does make perfect
Yep.
sense right there. Okay, so pretty much the voice on Fitter Happier, for my interpretation, pretty much is the AI and technology completely taking over. Is
Okay.
how I
Yeah.
would describe. Because remember, folks, we are in a day and age where AI is now being used. There is like so many celebrities who are so fucking pissed because AI started making AIs of them.
Hmm.
With one of them prime examples being that fucking bitch Taylor Swift.
Fuck Taylor Swift. I mean, if you like Taylor Swift, good for you. But I personally,
Yeah, yeah.
I
For
just
all
don't
you
like her music,
Swifties,
and I don't
fuck
think,
you. Take it with a grain of salt.
yeah, I don't think she's a great person either.
Yeah.
Like, there is no excuse why someone needs to have over $1 billion. There's no need for it.
Exactly, yeah. Okay, so on this article that I have, Fitter Happier is unique in that a person does not voice its vocals, but instead by the text-to-speech engine that was on the band's Apple Macintosh computer. It's a collection of statements that detailed the direction Radiohead thought technology would take society, and it has aged surprisingly well. As the song progresses, the lyrics become darker, and the background of music becomes more ominous. You know, it has that spacey vibe to it.
Yeah.
COVID-19 has caused our society to become entirely dependent on technology, which has not led to us becoming more empowered and informed members of society, as the robot narrator promises.
I can't think of anything else to say about that one. It's the shortest song in the album. It was less than 2 minutes, if I remember right.
Yeah. And obviously the heroine's music on it, dude, it almost it sounds like space-like music that you would hear on a video game like the Dead Space series, or a movie like Event Horizon, which will be the subject of a song we will discuss soon. Okay, so obviously we get to probably their most political song, Electioneering.
It's
Let
my
me ask you
second
this.
favorite song on the album.
Let me ask you something, Aegis.
What?
Isn't it a coincidence that on the same day when Donald Trump accepted the Republican nomination for president, I ended up playing that song on my radio show that day?
What a coincidence.
Here's the thing. I did not create the playlist that day, folks. I created it like maybe at least a few days prior. So to think that it was just a coincidence, holy shit. But oh my god, dude, all the freaking stuff that I ended up getting for that, dude, like everyone thought I made that did that as a protest, honestly, but which is way far from the truth, man. It was just a coincidence. I just wanted to play Electioneering because I don't think it gets enough airplay, dude, especially on rock radio. I don't hear it anywhere. The only time I would hear like a song like from Radiohead is if they do a censored version of Creep. So, what is there to say about this song? It's probably the most politically charged song ever. Here's what the article
Yeah, it said,
states. Oh, go ahead.
yeah, it says it captures the unrest against the neoliberal policies that plagued the globe in the late 1990s and would soon culminate in major anti-globalization movement protests all over the world.
And remember, in 2020, we had a lot of those protests, and those were more specifically the Black Lives Matter protests. And to think that it was an election year of 2020, Trump knew he wasn't going to win that year. So for me, what I got right here is by far the most explicitly political track on OK Computer. Electioneering is a song from the point of view of a politician who will say anything to attain money and power, even
Hmm.
compromising their values to do so.
Oh, that
I'm gonna,
reminds me of this one guy,
yeah,
the
and
Titian Tyrant, as I like to call him.
yeah, no, I call him a fascist
Hmm.
because he is a fascist, and not to mention
Oh,
he ended
yeah.
up bringing somebody who has no fucking business in being in government, dude. I'm just gonna leave it there.
Not gonna say who it is. Not gonna say who it is.
Yeah, just do not buy any Teslas. So to continue on with the article here, the song generally applies to every democracy that is controlled by money interests, Hillen said. York talks about money at least a few times with the lyrics, "It's just business" and "voodoo economics." One lyric that I want to mention right now: "Trust I can rely on your vote."
What does that make you think of?
Money can do anything, man. If you have the money and the right connections, you can do whatever you want. And that's a very dangerous weapon right there. While the track was originally in reference to former British Prime Minister Tony Blair and the New Labour movement of the 1990s, it is still relevant today.
Hmm.
Okay, so to continue on, the next song that we have is probably my most favorite song from this album, Climbing Up the Walls. What do you got to
Yeah.
say?
So, Climbing Up the Walls is one of the first tracks by the band to be described as scary, relying heavily on strings, but not in a conventional way, as the string section, composed by Johnny Greenwood alone, features 16 different violins playing quarter tones apart from one another.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then it says Tom accompanies the chilling melodies with equally haunting lyrics about the relentless internal demons people face.
And believe me, dude, we all have demons. We all
Oh, yeah.
do. So, like I said, dude, for this song, dude, I really like the overall sound of it
I do too.
because it's just amazing, dude. Dude, Johnny Greenwood, probably one of the all-time best multi-instrumentalists out there. There's no doubt about it, man. No, like I know that a lot for honestly, when it comes to Radiohead, dude, like Tom York obviously gets more exposure because he is the front man. He is the voice of Radiohead. But
Hmm.
Johnny Greenwood, for me, dude, I think he is that one unsung hero.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I agree.
Because like he puts so, just like with Roger Waters when he was writing the lyrics for The Wall, dude, Johnny Greenwood really puts in depth a closer look into his craft. And it's something that I'm sure you can relate to with the stuff you
Oh,
make.
yeah. Yeah.
Like especially on your software that you use, Finale.
Finale. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so climbing up the walls is sung from the perspective of paranoia itself, something that's always in the back of our minds, even in the modern world. Paranoia is bred when our lives change, and the pandemic has done so in the form of conspiracy theories seeking to place blame for the virus on someone else. I'm gonna stop right there, dude. That was what was fucking happening. People kept fucking spreading false shit about it, dude, and it fucking pissed me off.
Yeah. I know this song, being schizophrenic, this song's pretty relatable too.
Yeah,
Because I'm
I could.
paranoid schizophrenic and oh my God, at work sometimes it gets bad. It feels like everyone's talking about me and everyone hates me and shit. And then I go take a Xanax and another antipsychotic and it's all fine.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I can understand that, man. Like I said, dude, when it comes to the conspiracy thing, dude, like, nothing fucking pissed me off more than that.
Yeah.
Heck, there was something that happened in Grand Rapids a while back involving our state senator, and I'm not going to say his name for privacy reasons, but he's already under the subject of charges of trying to solicit sex from a minor.
Yep.
And in retrospect, dude, there was one guy who I knew for 10 years who was a far right extremist guy. And I just told him stop spreading false information on my fucking Facebook. He called me. We got into a very ugly shouting match, and it was so bad, dude. I had to proceed to fucking block him.
Damn. That's fucked up.
Yeah, and I was like, I'm done with this shit, dude. Like, anytime that shit happens, dude, I'm gonna fucking block you regardless, because I'm not gonna associate with that type of bullshit. Okay, so the next song here is probably my least favorite one. And it's No Surprises, which I think is
Really.
among their, yeah, it's among like their top three songs, but I just don't like it.
See, it's my third favorite song of this album personally. And I do really like the music video as well.
Yeah, we watched it the other day, dude, and
Yeah.
I thought he did good with that. Let me ask you this: when Tom York in there holding his breath, do you think that was actually him holding his breath, or do you think that was just to edit
I've
it in?
I have no fucking clue, but want to hear my interpretation of the music video and how it relates to the song itself?
Yeah, go ahead.
So like as the water is rising and it rises above his face and he has to hold his breath, it it's about like stress and hardships. Like we have to deal through all this shit, through all this water coming up, holding our breath, suffering,
Yeah.
and then it comes down. There's such relief, and it's like all the bad in your life just makes all the good parts even better, you know?
Yeah, I could understand that, man. For me, my it has that very dreamy like feel to it, you know, when you hear it, dude. This song was inspired. The instrumentation for the song was inspired by the Beach Boys' Magnum Opus Pet Sounds, specifically their biggest hit, Wouldn't It Be Nice? And if you listen to that song and compare it to No Surprises, you can really hear that. For me, dude, the music almost sounds like you're having a dream, right? And it
Yeah.
suddenly ends up turning or transforming into a nightmare. And when now that you bring up the music video, dude, isn't it a coincidence that the space horror film Event Horizon was released that year, like OK Computer was?
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, he looked like he was in one of them space pods because you could see the text scrolling sideways, and yeah, it almost looked like he was in one of those pods that the crew on the ship were sleeping in, or at least the crew that were on their ship to go to the Event Horizon ship itself. There was sleep pods or something like that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yep,
And that
and
is also a really good movie, Event Horizon.
yeah.
I'm surprised you like it. You're not a big horror guy.
Well, I like a little bit of it, No, I'm Sam Neill, dude. Obviously, I think he did not do the second Jurassic Park film so that he could do that role, or they were basically just focusing mainly on the other guy played by
Lawrence Fishburne?
no, not Lawrence Fishburne. I was talking about the guy on the second Jurassic Park film.
Oh, in the second Jurassic Park. I thought you were still talking about fucking Event Horizon.
Yeah, but Lawrence Fishburne's also good in that. There's even that one scene that I showed you, man. And Sam Neill famously saying, "You can't leave. She won't let you." Lawrence Fishburne says, "Just get your stuff, you pack your bags and get back on the Lewis and Clark doctor, or you'll find yourself walking home." And then he just says, "I am home," and then just goes into the shadow or whatever. But yeah,
Jeff Goldblum is who you were thinking of. It was Jeff
yes,
Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum. I like him. I fucking like Jeff Goldblum, man. So I was gonna say, what was I about to say now? Oh yeah, basically, like if they would have had this song on the Event Horizon movie, dude,
That'd
it
been
would
fucking
make
cool.
it would make you things a lot more scarier as fuck, man. Because remember, in some like independent horror films, for example, they used Tiny Tim's "Tiptoe Through the Tulips." I don't know if it was.
Tiptoe. Sorry.
Don't fucking start. But dude, it just imagine if they had no surprises on fucking Event Horizon, dude. Just like they did with Tiptoe Through the Tulips on independent horror films and all that. Okay, so for according to the article, it says no surprises circles back to the theme of longing for escape from the anxiety of the modern world. With everything going on, many of us are yearning to live in a place with no surprises. All right, so the next song that we have here is my second favorite one from this album, Lucky.
It's about a guy who survives a plane crash, right?
Yes. And you know what the funny thing is, dude? Ric Flair, who is one of the all time greatest wrestlers, he was in a plane crash himself and survived.
Wow. What are
Yeah,
the odds of that happening?
yeah. Well, almost only two or three people died in that crash. I think they were at a safe enough altitude and to survive it. Like, and Flair ended up saying on an interview talking about the plane crash that the only injuries he had was that he broke his back in two different places.
Ugh.
It wasn't bad
Excuse
enough to paralyze him, but like when you break your back and all that, dad really did break his back when he worked construction, dude. Breaking your back is the last thing you want to happen.
Especially if you're working in construction, that would be some tough shit to go through.
Yeah, it really was for him, man. It really was. But yeah, the song "Lucky," dude, it almost reminds me of "Creep" because of the sound. This is probably the one song where they went back to their traditional old vintage stuff from like their first album, Pablo Honey. So for what I've said in this album, this article states, Lucky talks about a plane crash instead of the car crash mentioned in Airbag. The two songs are similar in that the music and lyrics manage to be simultaneously optimistic and dreadful, imagining being reborn. With our world in the shape it is in today, some might say it would be nice to start anew. Oh,
All right. Anything else to say about that one?
no.
All right. Yeah, that was the penultimate track on the album. And the last one is The Tourist.
Yep. What is there to say about this song? I think, aside from No Surprises and Exit Film for a Music, I could not click with The Tourist.
I wasn't the biggest fan of it either, but The Tourist is the final track on OK Computer, punctuating the album with soaring guitar solos and ethereal vocals. The track is about enjoying life. When a tourist visits a place, he usually feels like he has to do a lot to take in the sights, making him move at a fast pace. Hence Tom telling him to slow down.
Yep, exactly, man. I was just quickly looking at something here. I'm still waiting for like some mail right now. It's a
Hmm.
fucking SpongeBob baseball jersey. I don't know. I'm a huge SpongeBob fan, folks, so don't criticize. Or y'all are
So
just
is G
haters.
Money.
Yep, and
I don't hate it, but I do really like it.
to give you an idea, folks, this is my wallet.
And these are my credit cards.
Yeah, just start showing my credit card
And
information.
here is the security number on the back.
Dude,
And here's
the
my
talk
social security card.
talk about a highway robbery right there. Hey, Elon Musk, here you go. So you can
Hey,
get more
Elon Musk,
greedier.
want to know my mother's maiden name?
Hey, Elon Musk, do you know the first two numbers of my social? All right, so the tourist here is sung from the perspective of a tourist begging the people around him to slow down and smell the metaphorical roses. The final
Hmm.
song on the album reminds us that with how fast paced our society has become with all of the innovations in technology, it's important to slow down and not allow paranoia and anxiety to take hold, even as the current news cycle makes a day seem like a year. And we're, of course, talking about all them news outlets, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, News Nation, you name it.
Yep.
Okay, so and then the article concludes by saying this. Even 23 years later, because this was 2020, it is 2025, so it'll be 28 years in May. Even all these years later, the warnings and lessons of OK Computer continue to stay relevant. I think there's a little gems that relate to our modern world all over Radiohead's discography, Hillen concludes. It is, what can I say about this album? It is absolutely relatable. We are in a huge society today where we're so dependent on technology and we have all these pressures and anxieties, dude. And now that I think about it, dude, now that I think about this simply, dude, with the topics that we have just discussed, where they talked about the pressures and anxieties of life, lyric wise, it is definitely related to Dark Side of the Moon, but the sound is relatable to Pink Floyd's The Wall for the overall sound. But the lyrics,
Yep.
Dark Side of the Moon related, without a doubt.
Right, you got anything else you want to say about the album? What,
Well,
what, what would
here's
you
what
rate the album out of 10?
for me, dude, like from 1 to 10, dude, I would say, I would. It's not. You can't. There's no ever over beating Dark Side of the Moon. It's a Dark Side of the Moon. I can listen to all 10 songs from beginning to end. Okay, Computer, dude, I really couldn't because of those 3 tracks that I do not like. So I would say this is definitely like an 8 for me, but it is definitely a great masterpiece.
Yeah, I'd give it an 8.2.
Yeah. What would you say your overall favorite song is?
Paranoid Android, and then Electioneering, and then fuck, I forgot what it's called. The one with the water and shit.
Oh, no surprises.
No, no surprises. Yeah, it's my number three.
You said no, and I was like, oh, okay. You didn't like no surprises. For me, dude, here's how I would say it for my top 3 songs. Climbing Up the Walls is obviously number 1. Lucky is number 2. And number 3 is Paranoid Android.
Okay.
And if I had to put like a number 4 song there, it would definitely be Karma Police because I really fucking loved the ending they put there. It was charging up your amp to make that sound, dude. I don't know of anyone who's ever done that.
I mean, Adrian Belew is an electric guitarist, and he makes some really cool, interesting, unique sounds with his electric guitar. Like a lot of the times, like he'll use it to sound like animals and all sorts of weird shit. And you gotta check him out sometime.
Yeah, I think Pink Floyd did something. Roger Waters did something for their album Amagama for like so I think let me see if I can find that song quick. But he ended up making overall animal sounds because when it comes to Roger Waters coming up with his overall sounds, dude, he is just a complete basket case. But I like him. All right, let me see here. Do, 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 do. Oh yeah, nah, it's simply titled, and it's probably the longest song name title track, and we will be doing a podcast talking about like the longest ass fucking names for songs. This one's called Several Species of Small Furry Animals Gathered Together in a Cave and Grooving with a Pict. And it's just him. I'm not kidding. You can't make this shit up.
What was the name of the album?
I'm a gumma. Which is, I think, another term for fucking or whatever. I don't fucking know. Oh yeah, it's the Cambridge slang for sex.
I
Hey, I wouldn't mind me some sex right now. Maybe I might have to go to Cambridge or something like that.
think it's pronounced Cambridge.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Yep. But overall, folks, I would say this: if you haven't listened to OK Computer, go check it out. It is just as relatable today as it was back then. They predicted that all this was going to happen, and they fucking did.
Mm-hmm.
I would also advise that you check out the 20-year anniversary OK Not OK. I think maybe eventually we'll sit down and even maybe next week or something like that we'll sit down and listen to the songs for OK Not OK, which is like the B-sides and like all the never before heard tracks. Let me see if I can find that quick. Because I ended up shutting down all of my fucking shit here, so. Okay, okay, here we go. Yep, bonus. Yep, it's on the bonus disc, and there is 11 tracks, and they are like
Damn.
they're like B-side singles. Like 2 of them are like the B-sides to Karma Police. 4 of them are the B-sides for Paranoid Android, and then 2 of them are the B-sides to No Surprises. And then the first 3 songs are previously unreleased tracks. and we'll take a look, see if they do fit in with the the
Kind of
themes
sound
and
for the
stuff.
album.
Yeah, the sound and like the overall themes of it.
Okay.
But what can I say, folks? OK Computer is a masterpiece. It was the exact album,
Absolutely.
just like with Green Day's American Idiot. OK Computer came out at the right place at the exact right time. And if you haven't heard it, I encourage you to check it out. I will include the album in the description below, so be sure to go check that out. What do you got to say about it? Like, any final thoughts?
This is a good album. Listen to it. Paranoid Android, of course, is really good. Is uh, Regardless of who you are, there's got to be at least one song on this album for you, you know?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
1 second. But yeah, thank you all so much for tuning into this podcast. It's amazing. You just fucking got blurry again. I think it's the camera. But yeah,
I'm
folks,
gonna try and plug it in and see if that helps.
Yeah. But yeah, folks, be sure to subscribe today if you want more music-related topics and want to see more album reviews such as this. Also, be sure to go subscribe to the Airbag group today as well. Well, I am over there frequently, so we will be doing more collabs in the future, so stay tuned for that. And do you have any final things you want to say?
Cheers.
Cheers, man. Thank you all so much for tuning into this podcast. And until next time, ta-ta for now.